Good evening, everyone. I'm Ibrahim Dogus, a Labour councillor from London Borough of Lambeth and the chair of SMEs4Labour. It's an honour to welcome you all tonight to this important reception supported by the Wine and Spirits Trade Association. It's great to see so many of you here tonight. We've joined by a fantastic group of people, including many members of Parliament, and I encourage everyone to take the opportunity to get to know each other, connect and discuss how we can work together to support the vital role small businesses play in our economy. Labour's recent success at the last election was built on many different things. Strong, determined leadership, credible policies for change, a belief that we can secure the UK's economic future, and a return to Labour's core values: fairness, community, and justice. These values resonate with the British people and show that the Labour is ready to govern again. One key area of Labour's transformation is our commitment to small and medium enterprises. When we founded SMEs4Labour, some asked, what do SMEs have to do with Labour? Labour is the party of industry, of manufacturing, of NHS, of public services. But we knew, and we know now, that Labour must also be the party of small businesses. Why? Because small businesses are the lifeblood of our economy. They employ most of the workforce in the country, generate billions in GDP, create jobs, apprenticeships, and wealth in local communities. And more importantly, they share our values. Small businesses provide opportunities for people like me, foster social cohesion, and drive creativity and innovation in the UK. We are proud to champion small businesses, but our work is just beginning. After 14 years of Tory chaos, we face huge challenges. The wine and spirits industry is a perfect example of how SMEs contribute to UK economy. In 2022, this industry supported 413,000 full-time jobs, generated over 76 billion in economic activity, contributed 22 billion in gross value added. Over 60% of WSTA members are SMEs, with more than 30% qualifying as micro businesses. There are over 1,000 independent wine merchants across the UK, many of them on our high streets. We must ensure they continue to thrive. SME4Labour and the WSTA are committed to working together to promote the issues small businesses in the sector face. We will provide a forum for our MPs to engage with the industry, advocate for policy changes that support SMEs' growth. I urge all our MPs here tonight to reach out to WSTA and connect with businesses in your constituencies. WSTA is the voice of over 300 businesses. Your collaboration is crucial to supporting the entire industry. Thank you all for being here tonight. Let's continue working together to ensure that Labour remains the party of small businesses and that the UK's SMEs continue to flourish. Thank you. Before we continue, I'd like to take a moment to introduce someone who has been a strong advocate for small businesses and a dedicated voice for us in Parliament. Rupa Huq MP, Member of Parliament for Ealing Central Acton, is our gracious host for this evening's reception. Rupa has consistently championed our causes that matter to our communities, and we are delighted to have her support tonight. Please join me in welcoming Rupa Huq MP to say a few words now.
Thanks ever so much, Ibrahim. Let's have a round of applause for Ibrahim Dogus. Come on. How many events was it you did at the conference? I'm surprised you're still standing. He had a zillion events at the Labour Party conference in Liverpool the other week, if anyone was there. And look, it gives me great honour and privilege to be hosting this reception here today on behalf of SME4Labour. I'm a product of small business. My dad was an Indian restaurateur. Any Indian restaurateurs in the room? Yeah, many. Okay, there you go. That put food on the table for me and my siblings. And I know, the risks people take, the sacrifices they make, the fact they literally starve to feed money into the business, to pay wages, to do the laundries, all those kind of things. So I have enormous respect. Small businesses, small and medium enterprises are the backbone of our high streets, our societies, our communities, all that stuff. So big shout out for them. And also for WSTA, the mysterious sounding Worcester. What kind of acronym is that? It's the Wine and Spirits Trading Association, isn't it? Anyway, look, we have a ministerial sandwich today. We have two ministers, not just one, but two. We have the House of Commons and the House of Lords represented. The first minister we have up today, Gareth Thomas, my near northwest London neighbour from Harrow. He originally took that seat off the Tories, didn't you? When you were a nipper, weren't you? He was a prodigy. He's been here since 1997. He doesn't look that old. But anyway, let's have a round of applause for the Minister of Services, Small Businesses and Exports, Gareth Thomas MP.
Rupa, thanks for that very generous introduction. I think it's only fair that I say that I am just the warm-up act for the more important minister who's going to speak to you in a few moments, the excellent Baroness Maggie Jones. I was slightly nervous about tonight's event because I'm not a great wine connoisseur, but Maggie assures me that she very much is. So she will speak with knowledge, whereas I may be slightly more challenged in that sense. But it's great to have to be here at SME4Labour so early in the return of Parliament. Great to see Ibrahim on his feet once again, championing small businesses for the Labour Party. Ibrahim, thank you very much for all you do for through SME4Labour. And let me acknowledge the support of Miles and his team at WSTA for tonight's evening. Miles, we want your organisation and in particular the members of your organisation to continue to be more and more successful over the lifetime of this Parliament. So great to have you here and great to have your support. And I look forward to hearing of you working with Maggie. I'm going to stick with the tea drinking if that's all right. But if I may, I just wanted to say a few things about small businesses in general, and perhaps to start, back in my constituency, as Rupa alluded to, mine is the greatest constituency in Britain, and you won't be surprised to know that there are many examples, never heard of South London, there are many examples of great small businesses in Harrow. One is called Orthene Chemicals. And 60 years ago, in a garage not far from where I grew up, a man called Alan Kerr invented a new form of brake fluid. He and his family turned that invention into a business which has been going now for almost 50 years, has created 40 jobs. They export to 79 different countries, and their brake fluid is used in every Formula One car, most cars that are driven in Britain, and certainly will be used by Ibrahim's Ferrari. But if you're looking for inspiration in terms of small businesses, home-baked bakery in Anfield, that is operates in the shadows of the great Anfield football stadium, set up and run still by local women. It's a community business, a cooperative. It sells some of the best pies in England, homemade, delivers local jobs, local investment in an area of high deprivation. They are a business that is investing in their high street, crucially. And just perhaps a last example with a nod towards the wine and drinking industry. Coventry-based Dillon's Brewery, local hospitality business, backing Coventry City Football Club. They've created a large number of local jobs, invested in the city centre, and giving hundreds of people in the community around Coventry City Football Club another reason to be interested and committed to their town centre. The truth is that SMEs, they are surely the beating heart of our communities, aren't they? And that's why, in opposition, we were so determined to win the mantle of being the party of small businesses. It's why Johnny and Rachel published a 9-point plan to back small businesses if we were lucky enough to get into government. And that plan is still the lodestar for what we're doing on small businesses in government. So we promised to tackle the scourge of late payments by big business to small business. We announced just before Labour conference, please, thank you for the very small applause there, much better. A plan to end that practice, and that's going to make a real difference, I think, for small businesses going forward. Some more details to hammer out. Watch this space on that. We also promised we would help small businesses get access to the skills they need. So we've made the early commitments in terms of setting up Skills England and begun the process of reforming the apprenticeship levy so that small businesses can access the financial support they need to invest in their staff and get the talent they need to run their businesses going forward. We're committed to reform business rates to try and equalise up the huge pressures that businesses on the high street are facing from the online retail giants. And again, in government, Rachel Reeves has followed through on that commitment, has said we'll hear more on reform of business rates in the budget on the 30th of October. You'll forgive me if I don't mention anything more about that. One doesn't want to provoke the ire of the Chancellor when we're in the run-up to the spending round as well. On exports, because we want to see more small businesses exporting. The truth is that whilst there are many great export stories amongst the small and medium-sized business community, in comparison to some countries, notably Germany and the US, our small business sector slightly lags behind in terms of the number of businesses that export. So we want to think through those challenges. What can we do to make it easier for small businesses to export? Obviously, Europe and the one or two challenges that small businesses face since Boris Johnson's wonderful trade and cooperation agreement are often raised with us. And we have begun the process of building a better relationship with Europe so that we can bring some of those trade barriers down and reduce the friction that businesses face. But there's much more we can do to improve the quality of the export support we give to businesses so they know where to go and how to access markets, the documentation they need to fill in. We're looking at all of those areas, and we're keen to work with WSTA and other organisations to get that package of support right. On access to finance, arguably a growing problem, not a shrinking problem, for small businesses going forward. We're looking at what we can do to tackle the difficulties that business face, not only in scaling up their businesses, because we remain at the moment one of the best places in the world to set up a small business, but our challenge is helping those businesses to scale up and stay and want to stay in the UK because they can access the finance they need to do that. So again, we're looking at those issues. But as Johnny said in the Parliamentary Labour Party just upstairs, one of the measures that we as a party will get judged by in terms of our support for small businesses, our ability to deliver growth in our communities, is what our high streets feel like. That's where you have the biggest and most obvious sense of the presence of small businesses. Our high streets have got to feel better places for our communities by the end of this Parliament in order for us, I suspect, to be able to say we have truly delivered for small businesses and delivered better growth going forward. And that means tackling crime, which is an endemic issue on too many of our high streets. Home Office are already moving on ending the issue of violence against shop workers, too big a problem already, and also tackling the issue of shop lifters being able to get away with up to £200 of goods being stolen without serious police action against them. Two measures which I hope will begin to see a positive move in terms of the reduction of crime on the high street. Better effort in terms of getting housing onto the high street to help create the footfall in and on town centres and high streets, I think will be important going forward. I've alluded to business rates. That will make a difference going forward for business, for high streets as well. Perhaps just lastly, the thing to say is, there was a lot of consultation in opposition that we did with small businesses. We are determined to maintain that quality of conversation with small business going forward. There will be a small business council. We will seek to publish and to consult with businesses on our plans for small business going forward. We want people to be engaged both outside through business structures, but also through Labour Party structures such as SME for Labour, to making sure we're getting right not only the initial commitments we make now we're in government on support for small businesses, but also on the ongoing package of legislation, etc., to help small businesses going forward. That's probably enough for me as the warm-up for Maggie Jones. But just genuinely, thanks, Ibrahim, very much, and to colleagues who've come tonight for your support for the small business sector. It is appreciated. You helped to hold our feet to the fire on our plan for small businesses. We appreciate it. Keep in touch, and please cheer for Maggie Jones.
Short. Thank you. The observant amongst you will know that I am not Maggie Jones. She's going to speak next, but I'm going to abuse my position as co-sponsor of the event just to say a few words first. Look, let me start by saying it's great to have a couple of ministers and so many MPs in the room. Some familiar faces coming in at the back. Very nice to see you. Look, I'm extremely grateful to SME4Labour for organising this event, and not just this event. I think Ibrahim deserves an enormous amount of credit for having built a series of events, both parliamentary and otherwise, for small businesses to talk to the Labour Party. Great to hear from the Minister, Gareth Thomas, there about how important that is, because it really is. And I think our sector is a very, very good example of why that's so important, because if we are going to get growth, which is the one thing I think everyone in this room agrees on, economic growth is essential, and we're only going to get it by working together. So that's government and business. We can no longer be pulling in opposite directions. So look, let me say just a few things. The Wine and Spirit Trade Association, WSTA, does what it says on the tin. We are a membership organisation of over 300 businesses. We are the only one that spans more than one category of drink, and the only one that has everyone in the supply chain able to be a member, from producers to retailers, both big and small, by which I mean supermarkets and one-man or woman band importers on the high street. So we're SME rich. Ibrahim touched on this, but 60% of our members are SMEs and over 30% are micro businesses. We think there are some 1,000 independent wine and spirit merchants out there in your communities, in your constituencies, may I say, and anyone who's good at maths will have worked out that's just a bit less than 2 per constituency. So, you know, got a bit of leverage there. Let me just touch on the size of the industry, because we're SME rich, but we're bigger than people think. First of all, in 22, our industry generated over £76 billion worth in economic activity, over 22 billion in gross value added, and we support more than 400,000 jobs. 60% of those jobs are in the on-trade. So that's on your high streets, in your pubs, bars, restaurants, nightclubs, etc., serving you. And the other part of our membership that's extremely important is those businesses do not survive unless the supply chain survives. So the crisis for hospitality is every much as big a crisis for the supply chain as well. And it's important not to forget that. So here we are, start of a parliament, start of a new government. We're here to speak directly for over 300 companies, but speaking on behalf of thousands more. And what we really want is to work closely with a new Labour government. We very specifically joined this partnership with SME4Labour because it's about working with Labour MPs, but also Labour councillors, the Labour Party, actually anyone in the Labour family who is going to help support small businesses, yes, large as well, but small businesses to grow. Because without growth, we are not going to get out of the situation we find ourselves in, which may or may not have something to do with 14 years of the last lot. Ironically, what I'm here to ask you for, and if you are sponsoring an event, you always want something. So what are we asking for? What we're asking for is nothing. Now, that may sound a bit odd. It might sound unusually attractive. The alcoholic drink sector has been subject to outrageous increases in tax for the last more than 14 years, to be fair. What we really want is no more tax increases. We had the largest tax increase for 50 years last year, and at the same time, the last government introduced the first change to the excise duty system. It was good to have some background music, so I was building up. The first change to the excise duty system for 130 years, and they've made a mess of it. So previously, there were 3 possible payments on a bottle of wine. This is just an example. 3 possible payments. For fortified wine, paid one type of tax, for still wine, another. And in some European countries, you paid a 3rd level of tax for a sparkling wine. After the 1st of February, if the so-called wine easement is lost, a wine business could end up paying one of 130 different amounts on a bottle of wine. Not only that, it will change at least every year, often sometimes in between. And that's because, frankly, wine is a bit different. If you introduce a taxation system according to strength, it's the one alcoholic drink that you can't dictate the strength of. Everything else you can, wine you can't. It's a function of how hot the climate is where the grapes are grown. The last government did not understand that, or at least not until the very last moment, where they introduced this so-called easement. So for the 18 months, they gave us a stay of execution, where everything in a strength band between 11.5% and 14.5% ABV is taxed at one rate as if it were 12.5%. If I've lost you already, you're forgiven. The point is, 85% of wines are taxed at one amount. From the 1st of February, there will be 30 different payable amounts for the same range. There are lots of businesses in here, and please do talk to them if you're an MP, who will not be able to manage that change. And the question is why? You'd have thought this would generate huge amounts of new revenue for the Exchequer. Wrong. Even if customers bought the same amount of wine, the same volume, the same wines, revenue to the Exchequer would not increase. Actually, we know that that's not happening. Demand is falling. So consumers are buying less. Part of that is a healthy long-term trend. So we drink 15% less alcohol now than we did 15 years ago. That is a good trend. Businesses are able to sell higher quality wine at higher prices, and the public is drinking less, and that's generating more tax for the revenue. But the latest changes drive a coach and horses through that. Demand is dropping off a cliff. There are 33 million wine consumers in the UK. It's the most popular alcoholic drink. It's more popular amongst women than men. It makes no sense. No benefit to the Exchequer, much, much more complicated for small businesses, many of whom are here tonight. So if we have one request, and it explains why we're very, very happy to partner with SME4Labour, we need the new government to understand that what the last lot did is a mess. We want support for small businesses in our sector, and in turn, they will fulfil their potential to grow. So at the budget on the 30th of this month, what we really need is to see no more tax increases, the wine easement to be maintained. It's crossing out one line in legislation. And we then want to turn our attention with you to growing small businesses, generating more jobs, more wealth, particularly locally on your high streets and in your constituencies. We want to help you. We all want to grow. That's it from me. Thank you very much for your time.
I did say it'd be a ministerial sandwich, so we've had the meaty middle there, or rather the liquid middle, and also I'm a teetotaler too, but a lot there to chew on, or slurp up or something, I don't know. Anyway, look, now we have the other bit of the sandwich. Minister, Parliamentary Under-Secretary for Trade and Industry, is it? A bit of paper's gone somewhere. But anyway, Baroness Maggie Jones.
Yeah, it was very kind of Gareth to say he was acting as my warm-up act and then say everything that needed to be said about small businesses. I hope that I'm not going to be a disappointment, but I think that the fact that he's able to tease me is a sign of how well we're working collectively in government at the moment. And I should say that, yes, I am a minister in the Department for Business and Trade, but also in the Department for Science and Technology. And the good news about that is that it's allowed me to see the amount of cross-government working that's already taking place. So the good news is that the messages that we're pursuing in science and technology are absolutely the same as those that we're pursuing in business and trade. And I know that when we're talking to our colleagues in other departments, they are pursuing the same agenda as well. So there is a huge amount of cross-government working, which is all to our benefit. And of course, we're seeing that in the missions and the fundamental mission that we have for economic growth. And Miles was absolutely right to say, and we absolutely understand that that is the message. Economic growth is absolutely what is going to drive us forward. Sometimes we forget, the little time there's been that we've been in government, and how much we've been able to achieve by that. But in the first few weeks of my appointment, as ministers do, I've been around the country. I've visited all sorts of young companies that are starting up and developing. And as ever, you get hugely impressed by the creativity, the entrepreneurship, the amount of energy, the amount of commitment to those businesses that individuals have. But also, they all have a story about what's holding them back. And really, the issue that came up time and time again was a lack of investment. And that is a message that we've absolutely taken to heart. So that's why we've created the National Wealth Fund, which is bringing together the UK Infrastructure Bank and the British Business Bank, which will give us a much more coherent vehicle to invest in industries in the future. And it's why we've committed to the Enterprise Investment Scheme and the Venture Capital Trust, which have now been extended by 10 years to April 2035. So we get that message. We're trying to find new vehicles for investment, and I very much hope, and I'm sure it will be the case, that in the budget we will see more of that will give us some more security about going forward in terms of investment. But, it's not just about investment. It's also about the lack of infrastructure and the lack of support that many companies feel. And that's why I was so pleased that one of the first acts of the Deputy Prime Minister was to announce more devolved powers to the city and the regions. Because collaborating at that level, delivering proper levelling up, rather than the farce we had last time round, is actually going to create those local economic hubs where innovators, where small businesses can get together with investors, with local government, with the local government enterprise forums, and that can be that transformative vehicle to deliver levelling up that's really worthy of its name. And as the Business Secretary said, we're also committed to publishing a new industrial strategy which will take a sectoral approach and focus on the UK's strength and growth opportunities. So we're laying the groundwork here for what I believe will be a much more collaborative and effective means of driving up economic growth in this country. And Gareth's already talked about the particular measures that we're taking for small businesses, obviously reforming business rates, improving the state of our high streets, ending the scourge of late payments. All of these are designed to send a very clear message that we are going to invest in small and medium businesses. I should say that Gareth and I are working on another innovation, if you like, which is called, my bit is called tech diffusion. I think his bit is called tech adaption. But it means the same thing, which is very much at the heart of our growth mission. We see technology lying there. And technology is something that is fundamental, that will help not only the huge big corporations, but small and growing businesses to thrive. It will help drive up profitability, help drive up expansion. We are on a mission to get small businesses and to help small businesses use the technology that's out there and embrace it to drive up our competitiveness. So if you haven't had contact with us in the government in that capacity before, you will be hearing from us because we're going around the country, we're doing round tables. We are trying to enthuse people about the opportunities for technology, which absolutely lie at the heart of the government's programme. And part of that as well is about driving up the skills agenda, revisiting, if you like, everything back to the curriculum and the work that Bridget is doing with Skills England. We want to give you the staff with the skills that will help drive your business forward. So that is a really important agenda, and that is not just about setting young people out at the start of their working lives, but allowing them to retrain, because we know that that's going to be the future. That, you know, one set of skills isn't enough. You have to learn, you have to retrain, and you have to have the capacity and the enthusiasm to do that. If you look at our history, some of our most famous brands and our biggest exports all started as small, medium enterprises and have grown, and they have become global brands. We want that ambition for more of the people in this room. We want you to reach out and to really feel that you can make it on a global basis. And if there are barriers, Miles, in the way that you talked about, then we need to address those. So, you know, do talk to us, because we don't want any of those barriers, if they're still existing, to get in the way of that huge enthusiasm that we have for Britain in the global world. We have great, we want, you know, it's early days of the government, but we're doing everything that we can to nurture government to send that message that economic growth is absolutely fundamental. And everybody, when we do that, we know that everybody in Britain is going to benefit from it. So it's a huge, ambitious programme. I hope when we're back here next year and the year after, you will see that very real, tangible effects of the investment that we're making, both private and public, and that you will really feel that this Labour government is making a difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maggie, and thank you, Gareth, and thank you, Miles from WSTA. I think the future of small business, small and medium enterprises is safe in these ministers' hands, we can all agree. So all it remains left for me to say is let's fulfil the instruction of Ibrahim at the beginning. Let's mingle. There's a lot of expertise in this room. There are people from all over the country. There is more food coming, more drink coming. So let's eat, drink and be merry. We have the room till 9:30. Thanks.
So SME4Labour is a fantastic organisation for ensuring that small and medium businesses get to network, get to grow, and get to talk to politicians to see what they need to enable their businesses to develop further. So I have a lot of SMEs in my constituency in Brent, and I thank Ibrahim for all the work that he does.
I'm Deirdre Costigan and I'm the MP for Ealing Southall. I'm really delighted to be here tonight at this event run by SME4Labour and jointly run with the Wine and Spirits Trade Association. It's a really fantastic event which is highlighting, I think, the work that the Labour Party is doing to support our small businesses, whether it's about cutting down on the scourge of late payments or reviewing business rates. SME4Labour really consistently over the last number of years has been the voice of small and medium-sized enterprises, and I hope they're going to continue that work with this new Labour government.
I'm Daniel Zeichner, I'm the Member of Parliament for Cambridge, and I'm here in Westminster at an SME4Labour event celebrating the role of small businesses in our economy. For a city like Cambridge, absolutely essential the government backs our small businesses. They're the lifeblood of our economy, and I'm absolutely determined to see our economy succeed. SME4Labour will be playing a big part in that.
I'm Florence Eshalomi, the Member of Parliament for Vauxhall and Kemble Green. It's great to be here today supporting Labour SME for businesses. Our small businesses, especially in constituencies like mine, are the lifeline and lifeblood of many heartbeats and high streets. They support local people, they employ local people, they create pathways to opportunities, and it's really important looking at the contribution they give back to the wider economy. So it's really important we continue to support our small SME businesses.
It's fantastic to be at this event this evening. So important for MPs like myself and others to get together, meet up and discuss the issues that are relevant to small businesses. Small businesses are the cornerstone of our economy, and they're absolutely critical for employment and for growth in the economy as well. And I'm really pleased to be here this evening.
Hi there, my name's Miles Beale. I'm Chief Executive of the Wine and Spirit Trade Association, and we're here this evening in the House of Commons with an event with SME4Labour. Now, the reason we're partnering with them is because my industry, my fantastic industry of wine and spirits here in the UK, is a world leader. But we're also 60% small businesses, of which more than 30% are micro businesses. And that's the amazing thing. Here in the UK, small businesses really do turn out to be the centre of the trading world for wines and spirits. We're an international organisation. We rely on small businesses doing well. SME4Labour has really helped us make our point to the right audience, and we hope that this Labour government is really going to support us, because above all, we need economic growth.
Hi, I'm Claire Hughes. I'm the Labour MP for Bangor, Aberconwy in North Wales. It's great to be here at this SME4Labour event tonight. Small businesses are the absolute fabric of our communities. I spent most of my career before becoming into Parliament this year working for startups, small businesses, for SMEs, and I know just how important events like this are to give the opportunity to talk to each other, to talk to MPs. So I'm really hopeful that we'll have lots more like this over the term of this government. Brilliant event.
Hi, I'm Kevin Bonavere and I'm the Labour MP for Stevenage. I'm delighted to be here with SME4Labour today. SME4Labour has brought together so many organisations working with the Labour Party. We're hoping with this new Labour government we can do so much more to support our SMEs. I'm delighted also that it's the Wine and Spirit Trade Association are supporting tonight's event here in Parliament. We've got in Stevenage the Wine Society, a major cooperative, I really support cooperatives, that has been working with so many other SMEs around our town. So it's having bigger businesses working with smaller businesses that are going to make a difference. Now, if you come to Stevenage, I'd recommend you come to the town centre, and you'll see that we've got the indoor market there, and you'll see startups there that become small businesses, that become medium businesses. So we start small, and whether you end up becoming big or not, we need you. You are the lifeblood of our economy. So congratulations to SME4Labour for all that you do for our businesses.
It's brilliant to be here with SME4Labour. I'm Rupa Huq MP. I sponsored tonight's event, and it's great to see so many different small and medium enterprises. And I pay tribute to Ibrahim Dogus for the amazing hard work he does with this fantastic organisation. Small and medium enterprises are the backbone of our societies, of our communities, of our high streets. And I'm a product of small business myself. My parents were Indian restaurateurs. Small business, SME, put food on the table for me and my sisters. And I know just how hard these entrepreneurs work. They will starve to put money in the business, to feed their employees, to make all the bills get paid in time. So I'm really encouraged by what I've heard tonight. 2 small business ministers we had. They've got everyone's interests at heart. And interesting also to meet with the Wine and Spirits Trade Association. I'm a teetotaler myself, but I can appreciate what they put into our economy as well. So I say, long live SME4Labour, and let's get our businesses thriving and our communities flourishing again after 14 years of Tory austerity.
Hi, my name is Ibrahim Dogus. I'm the chair of SME4Labour. Tonight here in Parliament, we had a fantastic reception, extremely well attended, with so many of our MPs and small businesses in the room together, having a conversation to understand what is needed to make sure British SMEs are able to grow and thrive under a Labour government.